So let's kind of start this off in the right way. It's been about a month since we talked about, or actually caught up, all right? So it's been another month of COVID. Kind of want to hear your thoughts and updates within your own network, personally, professionally, everything. Just to give people out there a little preview of what your life is all about right now.
It's the same as it's been since we started, right? So I'm just working from home. I'm in my office like pretty much all day, from anywhere from six in the morning or 7 in the morning until 5 or 6 at night. Take a couple of breaks for lunch and whatnot, but that's it, And then on the weekends, staying home. Although I go out sometimes, to go get things if I need them, but otherwise, it's the same. It's the same it's been,
How are you hearing from companies? I mean, we all know you're very connected, right? We were kind of laughing at the horror show that most companies are going through. The poor IT departments being crossed with wire, essentially.
Yeah.
Would love to kind of hear your thoughts. Have things kind of plateau, gotten better?
Yeah, from what I'm hearing, people are working. They have some sort of setups going on. Of course, for some people, it's not ideal, but it feels like everybody was scrambling in the beginning, and now people are actually working, right? But it's still, I think, people are being more impacted by having like kids at home and having to balance, managing their children and working from home. And that's been a struggle for people for sure.
This is certainly a strange time for the entire world, and especially for the game development industry. While with quarantines, there are more people playing games, it's had a really negative impact on people who are pre-launch, particularly people who are looking for funding and networking connections. GDC and E3 are really important events for game developers, especially those who are currently looking for publishers or funding. And that puts them in a really hard financial place to not be able to go to those conferences and make those connections in person. Additionally, many developers who are indie or just getting the start in their careers invested a lot of finances in attempting to attend GDC. With GDC's postponement, unfortunately, there's many non-refundable tickets and hotel reservations, which is negatively impacting those developers who invested that financial amount into attending GDC, and now see that as a loss, and they might not have the finances to attend another event or to make up for it.
It's been a change for sure, but I think the world never played that many video games as today. So all our customers are all these games. It's a bit complex to organize now that everybody is working from home. But the number of players grew, and also extensions like VR headsets have never sold that well. And so people have time for video games. People have time to try new things also. Very good times for the video game industry, I would say. Even if it's complex to organize, it's good moment for the industry.
What's your view on it, Jeremy? How are things over there on the development side?
I mean, yeah, I think for us it's been an adjustment as well, and I think we're I think the way we work is somewhat similar to GameStudio's. We're still, even though we're in a big company, we're a small part of the big company, and we have small teams and all working from home. So it's been a challenge, but after the first couple of weeks, everything feels like the new normal, and things are going on smoothly. But yeah, it's definitely a change.
Yeah, I mean, it's a I'm sure it's no different than what a lot of folks are dealing with. For me personally, it's not a whole lot different. I work on a remote location anyways. I live in New Hampshire, and our corporate office is in Minneapolis, and we development sites are in Alameda, California, and Wokingham, UK, et cetera. We have a number of different sites. So if I'm not on the road visiting customers or going to GDC, things like that, I'm typically working from home. So for me personally, the routine's pretty normal. For the company, it's definitely been a change. All of our teams, finance, marketing, development, everybody's made the shift to working remote, and we've handled it really well. I mean, I think we kind of got ahead of it a little bit. We kind of anticipated it, so we made sure our infrastructure was ready, and so the teams, our development teams I think they're actually going faster than before. I think people, they tend to, when they're home, you almost tend to work more. I think the traditional negative connotation of people working from home is that they're not going to work as much. They're going to hang out with their family and friends. They're going to goof off, whatever. But I think the reality is, and I'd like to get your opinion based on what you're hearing, is that people almost tend to work harder. They tend to work longer because work never really, there's no break point. So work never really stops, nights, weekends, etc. So it's actually on our minds and the management team of how do we keep people from burning out, right? How do we make sure they're taking the break of work versus life?
Yeah, well, the government told us to stay inside pretty much, but people are ignoring it for some parts. So when I'm living on a big street, and when I look outside of the window, I see groups of people gathering and stuff like that. I stay inside for the most part and play video games. I have no project right now. I'm on vacation, and next week I will enter home office again, I think. Yes.
Perfect.
So I'm just working from home. The job I do is a part-time job, so I work 3 days, and 4 days I work on my own stuff. But right now I don't have any personal project or anything in the pipeline. I just finished a commercial job, a logo animation for a video game. But other than that, I just play online games.
We've got work for home for people who've been there for a while. But it's like super, like if you absolutely need it. It's not like a every week thing, and it's definitely not something that most people do. It's kind of like if you want to sneak in some overtime hours, or if you're not feeling too well, but you can still work from home. That's been the case for most of the time there. But since the COVID-19 thing broke out, we went full remote. So the whole studio had to get ramped up in like 2 or 3 days. So IT and like all of our programmers and stuff and the producers, everybody's trying to get everybody organized and get anything people needed. Like there's people that we work with that like didn't even have like personal computers that could run Unreal Engine and stuff. So they had to like build personal kits for people to take home in some cases, and then make sure everybody's hard drives and stuff were clear and good enough to run like all of our stuff. So they had to get all that stuff ramped up like super fast, dude. It was crazy. And then not only that, we had to stagger when people would come pick things up because of the social distancing thing. So like, yeah.
So ITs are pretty much on the front lines like doctors right now, touching everybody's stuff.
Yeah, exactly, dude. For sure, man.
Yeah, it's one of those crazier thoughts. So it took you guys a couple weeks. Is everyone pretty much set up right now? Did you guys have enough rigs to kind of hand out to everyone, or do you guys have to order stuff, like you said, just to supply people with things?
Most people were able to get set up at home. We're a studio full of nerdos, so most nerdos have good like computers at the house,
Yeah.
So most people, it was just a matter of like VPNing in, which is like a lot easier to set up. But there was like a few cases where people like only had Mac or something like that, and didn't have like a Windows partition. So in those cases, I don't even know what the percentage is. Maybe like 2 or 3% of the studio needed rigs or something. But yeah, not too bad, not too painful.
Right. I mean, just talking to your friends, I know you've been in the industry for a while. You probably have a lot that you're speaking to, especially in this time where we're like talking to more people usual. Well, that's the funny thing, right? During work hours, we're talking to more people now because of the social distancing stuff. What are the situations? You don't have to name any studios. How are they faring? Are they doing just as well or worse?
I've been really surprised, man. Like I said, like I worked in visual effects in the past and stuff. I worked at like Frame Store and Moving Picture Company and Double Negative, Frame Store, and Digital Domain. And like I've been following them on social media a little bit and seeing how they've been handling it, because a lot of their stuff is like a lot more, it's all client based. So like having clients trusting employees to work on their stuff from home is like something that's never been a thing. So it's pretty cool seeing like how, as these different industries are handling it, there's been like a lot more trust in the artists and people doing stuff and like being trusted to do the right thing at home. And hopefully this will kind of set a precedent for the future, right? Like it'd be sick if a lot of these industries, you can start moving towards that, right?